Never be scared of drawing hands again. Part 1. The palm. We can simplify the palm with a box shape like this, but this isn't telling the whole story. Inside our palms are 4 bones, which means this box shape actually can distort quite a bit. The 3 most important muscles to drawing hands make a shape on the box, kind of like this. For now, let's simplify them to a few lines without worrying about the volumes. Your homework is to practice drawing a bunch of these boxes in different perspectives and putting the lines in the right place. You should also practice drawing some of the boxes deformed. And spend some time looking at how much your own hand can move. Part 2. Knuckles. In the last video, we practiced representing the palm as this sort of box shape. Now we're going to be representing the knuckles as 4 circles. Notice how these circles move positions when the box becomes deformed in poses like this. When the hand is fully clenched up, the knuckle of the middle finger is at the peak. The crease in our joints on this side don't actually line up with our knuckles on this side. When you connect them, you can see they're actually at an angle. This is caused by how much volume is in this muscle. Your homework now is to add representations for these joints to the sketches you did before. Spend some time studying how your knuckles change shape as you bend your fingers. Part 3. The fingers. In the last video, we talked about how the crease at the base of our finger doesn't actually line up with our knuckles. From this angle, the bottom section of the finger is only slightly longer than the middle section, which is only slightly longer than the tip. When the finger bends, though, we'll realize that this bone is actually about as long as these two combined. There's a concept in illustration where pairing straight lines with curved lines makes a drawing more appealing and full of energy, and fingers are a great example of this. Although we know fingers have 3 joints in real life, it's common for cartoonists to only draw 2 in certain poses. This will make hands a lot easier to draw, and will even make your hand poses feel stronger, because of the sharp angles. There are even some video games that rig their characters this way. Your homework now is to add fingers with a straight line, then a curved line. Part 4. The thumb. In the first video of this series, we learned about these 3 main volumes that make up the palm. It's an easy mistake to think of the thumb as just a smaller and shorter finger slapped onto the side of the hand. That's why I really hate these things. It's important to think about this volume as the bottom half of the thumb. This bone inside the hand has a ton of mobility. This big blob on our hands makes a lot of different shapes as our thumb moves around. Depending on the person, the tip of the thumb can angle back quite a bit, giving it this sort of bean shape. Exaggerating this curve in the thumb will make your hand poses easier to read. In fact, treating all the fingers like beans at the end of sticks will help you draw hands in weird perspectives. So, you survived my first 4 videos on each aspect of hand anatomy. In this video, we'll bring everything together and talk about gesture drawing. To get really good at drawing hands, you'll need to draw a lot of them. And when you learn to draw as fast as you can, you'll learn what it takes to break each pose down to its essential elements, which will help you draw more energetic and lifelike poses, which is an essential skill for comics and animation. I learned about this awesome website the other day called Line of Action, which even has drills specifically for drawing hands. Here's a few tips to help with your gesture drawing. Try drawing each finger as just one line, then fill in the details. Some poses will just start out as big shapes. You can block out a pose by just drawing 3 fingers as one shape. When the fingers are really spread out, an extra line will help you keep the proportions correct. Drawing hands, extra credit. This is a part where I spend 40 seconds just fangirling about an artist I really like. If you've been following me for a while, you know I really like the Japanese music artist Eve. One of their reoccurring animators is Ma, and I love how they draw hands. Their hands are super chunky and structural and are really great to learn from. One aspect of their style that really stands out is how they define the tips of fingers as their own shapes. Sometimes they just straight up draw hands like this, or like this, where 3 of the fingers get squished together into a single shape. It might look kinda weird in a still frame, but it's beautiful when in motion. The fingers may seem like they're made out of parallel lines. Studying this artist's style in particular really shows off how they aren't. Ma can also teach you a lot about the bare minimum you need to draw to define a hand pose. And that's the end of this series. I hope you're a little less scared.